it's cool because I feel like there's like a way that you could kind of connect with your muscles, like a mind muscle connection when you're high, because your focus level when you're high, well, for me at least, is like ridiculous. I was like ripping bongs and then going to the gym pre-workout. Yeah, pre-workout bong hits, like 2 to 3 bong hits, and going to the gym shoulder pressing, and like I was still like kind of weak, so my shoulders are just like shaking and shit. And I'm just praying, I'm like, don't drop it on my head, don't drop it on my head. I'm just in Canada, it doesn't have that negative undertone anymore. As soon as it was legalized, people are like, all right.
Yeah, right? Red light, yeah.
Yeah, so it just stays on pretty much. You just keep inhaling and you just.
Welcome back to Desktop Bodybuilding. Today I'm joined by Quinton Eriya, 24-year-old IFBB pro bodybuilder. And today we're talking about weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, we're talking about it. Out a lot, I suppose, lately. I've done a few interviews lately. I did one with Jay Cutler because he has his own, not dispensary, he has a cultivation situation going on. Also, Luke Sando, who's come out publicly and says, yeah, I smoke weed at night and to sort of help me relax. And he thinks it's very beneficial from the video we actually did. But what's your situation? So you've come out and said it publicly. I've seen you say it on an Instagram story. What's your thoughts on weed and, is it highly beneficial for you in bodybuilding?
Man, I was smoking weed before bodybuilding, probably too much at that time. But yeah, most definitely, because I feel when I'm using like CBD or when I'm smoking weed, a little bit of weed, I don't smoke a lot. Like my goal isn't what it was when I was a teenager. I'm not trying to get as high as I can every day. I'm just doing it to relax, like my muscles, to feel a little good, and also it helps with my sleep. Edibles are usually like key. Like if I take a strong edible a couple hours before bed or right before bed, I'm out like a light. Like I don't wake up, and I usually wake up a couple times throughout the night. So I'm somebody that's always had issues sleeping. So for me, and also as a bodybuilder, one of the most important things to build muscle is to sleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping, you're gonna have trouble making gains and recovering. So weed, there's properties in it that are actually that work as like in the CBD specifically to act as like anti-inflammatories. So it could be good for like joints and stuff, et cetera. If you're feeling like a lot of pain, there's a lot of wear and tear. But also just the fact that it helps me sleep stronger and longer, I feel like it helps my game. And not that I feel like it, it definitely does help my gains if it's going to help my sleep. So yeah, I do it pretty much every night. I got a little pen. It's charging right now, but I use this at night, or I'll roll like a little joint. Yeah, something nice and cute.
How do the pens actually work? So that you charge them up? Because I've used one before, but only once. So how do they actually work? So you have a little thing that you put the actual weed in, and then you is it electronic or what?
It's like I think it's it's electronic. You charge it, and then you put the thing. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of them are a bit different. You just screw it in, and then you just click a button. You don't have to it just comes like this prepackaged. You just order it like this. There's also some that are more, I don't think I have it anymore, but some that you don't see this thing, but it's inside, but you can't adjust anything. You just inhale, smoke it, and when it's done, it's done. When the battery dies, it's done. There's no way to change the battery, no way to charge it. So those are more I don't know, they're disposable, I guess, for a couple weeks. Yeah. But yeah, it's good because it's a way that you can smoke. You don't have to go outside. It's cold as hell in Canada, so you ain't got to go outside. You could just do it in the house, and your house won't smell like weed.
Yeah, that's cool. The one I actually used was it has a little light on the top, and then you basically you inhale until the light goes off or changes or something, and then you stop.
Yes,
and
yes.
It's a really clever way of controlling actually how much you smoke without smoking too much or too little or whatever.
Yeah. That's funny. I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine so you can unscrew the thing. Yeah, there's a little light that comes on. So okay, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yep,
it's the
yep.
light.
Red light, yeah.
Yeah, so it just stays on pretty much. You just keep inhaling, and you just.
That's cool. That's
Easiest to
cool.
do.
Like, it seems like a much more logical way of actually doing it. I don't know how many of them you can
Yeah.
actually get in Australia or not. Like, I don't know if that's a thing,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I
I
know
mean,
Luke Sando was talking about it, and he was saying that it sounds like they don't actually even have them in England. So are they pretty readily available in Canada?
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. They're easy. It was legalized, I believe, in 2018 or 2019, like just marijuana in Canada. So it's legal here, and there's after that there was like an influx of dispensaries that opened up, and they all have just different things like weed or oils or vapes, edibles, like you name it, they got it.
Yeah. So you can go into a shop, you'll see a bunch of edibles on the wall, and go, I want to get those and those, and you're good.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Yeah, like I've never ordered edibles in store, but I think a lot of them. But I would just buy the weed and just roll it up myself. But they're definitely there because I have a friend that owns a dispensary, and I'll order them from him because it's not known as an essential business. It was for the first 3 weeks, but then they shut down dispensaries in Canada because of COVID. So now you gotta order it.
Yeah. So in terms of like there being different strains, will you go into a dispensary and see that there's all these different strains you can buy, and like, do you have a preferred one that you like?
I always forget, like, when back in the day, I would just smoke whatever, like
Yeah.
whatever kind of weed. Like, I was never too specific. I know sativa and indica is like the main difference. I don't like, for me, it's whatever. Like, I sleep fine off of both of them, and I feel better, like, with my muscles and my soreness when I smoke either or. So I'm not really too picky. But when I'm at a dispensary, I try and find one with like a higher THC percentage because some of them is like bush weed. Like, I bought one that was cheaper before. I smelled the pack. It smelled like nothing. It didn't even smell like weed. So
Yeah.
I didn't even touch it. I didn't even touch it. Still have it in the bag. I'll probably throw it out.
Do you find the stronger the smell normally the stronger the weed?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's just more potent usually. Like the stronger the smell, like okay, this is gonna be some real shit. I'm about to have a good night.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever used it for training as well?
When I was like young, I would like when I was 19, when I was first like got like intensity with my training momentum, I was like ripping bongs and then going to the gym pre-workout. Yeah, pre-workout bong hits, like 2 to 3 bong hits, and going to the gym shoulder pressing, and like I was still like kind of weak, so my shoulders are just like shaking and shit. And I'm just praying, I'm like, don't drop it on my head, don't drop it on my head. But I came out okay each time. But it's cool because I feel like there's like a way that you could kind of connect with your muscles, like a mind muscle connection when you're high, because your focus level when you're high, well, for me at least, is like ridiculous. The only problem is it is illegal to drive high now, so I don't want to break the law, so I don't really do it. And I don't need to do it to train. Like, I'd rather just keep it as more of like a nighttime thing.
Yep, absolutely. And I know some people when they get closer to a contest as well, because obviously getting to the gym and feeling really bad those last 2 weeks. I know some people smoke it a bit more in those last couple of weeks for the training sessions. Is that something you've done?
Yes, actually. Yeah, I did that last year. This year, again, I got into the habit of just doing it at night to help my sleep. But I remember last year, like a couple weeks out of Toronto, I needed it.
Yeah.
And it helped me so much. It made me so much less stressed. So that was another huge reason as to why I started, like, because I had a couple of years where I didn't really smoke too often since I was a teenager, and I started again recently pretty habitually since last prep, because I feel like it really complements you if you live the life of a bodybuilder.
Yeah, and it's still like I don't know what it's like and how it's seen in Canada, but even in America, it's sort of like still slightly taboo, even though it's totally legal in some states as well. So it's still got that sort of stigma attached to it a little bit, much less than it used to be, but it still has it. How long till you think it's just like, people just talk about it openly and are just super relaxed about it? Do you think it's like another 10, 15 years away?
I think Americans are just, no offense to Americans, but they just have like a high percentage of people that just aren't really like, on par with the rest of people. Like they're just a lot of them are just a lot slower for some reason. I don't know. Like I don't understand. In Canada, it doesn't have that negative undertone anymore. As soon as it was legalized, people are like, all right, you know, if you smoke often, people only kind of see you as like a delinquent or a fuck up if you're like always like baked out of your mind. But like, I think people understand that, you know, beforehand it was illegal. It should have never been illegal if you think about it. Like, as long as cigarettes are legal, as long as alcohol is legal, a substance like marijuana shouldn't be. Even magic mushrooms, I don't know if that's illegal. I have no clue if it is illegal or not because it's not even popular. But stuff like that, actually, you know what? Magic mushrooms probably should be illegal because you hallucinate, and if you drive, you're probably gonna kill yourself. But like, with weed, I just don't think it should have ever been illegal.
No.
You know, like,
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, yeah.
And with the dangers of alcohol, we've seen it, you know, tear apart families. And I'm sure, like you said, if you're ripping like heaps of bongs every day and you're, you know, pretty much living on it, then it can be an issue. You know what I mean? But that's not what we're talking about here. You're talking about having a small amount at night. There's a big difference, and it's like what I say with a lot of people as well. There's a big difference between testosterone replacement therapy and doing 4,000 meg of test a week. You know what I mean? It's
right, absolutely.
It's a totally different ball game. Right. So there's use and then there's total abuse, and I think that what we're talking about is more the use side of things. And what Luke Sando said in his thing, he said, not that there's anything wrong with smashing down a bunch of bongs and then watching a movie and having a good time. He's like, what's wrong with that? You know, which is sort of true. And I think that's a lot better than going and getting smashed and taking, you know, other sort of illicit drugs like speed and whatever else, you know. So I think it's a lot safer option for people to have maybe a little bit of an escape and just to deal with, I suppose, like day-to-day life.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, for me, the thing is like alcohol has like an effect on the metabolism. So weed doesn't. Well, some people get munchies; they get really hungry. I don't. Like, I'm not really much of a hungry person to begin with. You know, like I have 2 cheat meals, but like even if I didn't, I'd be fine. You know, the reason I have them is because my weight would probably drop to like 260 if I didn't have them. But yeah, like I feel like it's better to have that one thing, like do a little bit of something at night than to just, you know, go all out every now and then. And again, there's a lot worse substances.
Absolutely. Quinton, thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate you shedding some light on your personal experience with weed and also what your opinion is in terms of the benefits to bodybuilding, because it seems like it's coming out a lot more. And the reason why I wanted to do these sorts of videos as well is because I've heard, you know, from behind the scenes so much that, oh, this guy smokes weed, this guy does, and it sounds like most pro bodybuilders or top level bodybuilders seem to, at least in some regard. And not saying all of them, but it seems like a high percentage. So I want to sort of get it out there and make it a little bit more well known. And by no means I'm condoning everyone go out and smoke weed, especially because it's illegal in many countries, including Australia. You know, some things are being loosened up now in terms of, you know, you're able to get it medicinally in my state and you're able to grow one plant in another state, and that's about it though. But yeah, I think it should be put out there and at least make it so it's a conversation starter, because I'm not condoning it. And, you know, there are negative aspects to any sort of drug or any sort of anything really if you overdo it or do things the wrong way. So I want people to obviously be cautious of that, but it is something that's probably a safer option than going out and taking other illicit drugs and things.
Oh, absolutely, man.
So absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. That's Quinton Eriya, top 5 IFBB pro finisher from last year and only 24 years of age. Thank you so much, Quinton.
All right, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.